All right, you guys, so identifying intersecting ideas. What are we doing with this? What is the purpose of this literature review, and how does this assignment encompass what it is we're trying to accomplish? All right, so identifying intersecting ideas is essentially a brainstorm for our literature review, which is basically a book report of how our sources talk to one another. Okay, so specifically identifying intersecting sources is going to make it so that you're picking out common threads that your sources are talking about, right? Things that, these sources, they don't all have to intersect on the same points, but I want to see that your sources are engaging with similar concepts so that you don't run into issues later on trying to figure out how to fit an outlier source into your essay and it's due in, 2 hours, right? That's not what we're trying to do. So what we're trying to do is identify three ways in which our sources kind of talk about similar things. Now, your sources are not all going to talk about the same things in the same ways. And if they do, well, then we don't really have really solid sources in that way, right? If they're exactly the same, we need various viewpoints. So what you're trying to do is pick out these commonalities, these points of intersection, whether they agree or disagree or, kind of take a totally different approach. Any of those ways is totally acceptable. It's just finding the commonality, and you want to have at least two sources intersecting with each idea. So as a brainstorm, identifying intersecting ideas is asking you to pull out three threads, three commonalities that you notice. A great way to do this is by looking at the second paragraph of your annotated bibliography, right, where you're talking about how it intersects with your research question, because we are still kind of tailoring our ideas toward where we want to go, but we need to see how other people are talking about that first. Okay, so point out, like if you notice that you found that you're pointing out similar, like the same ideas consistently, or within a couple of sources, then that's perfect. Pull that, use that as a point of intersection. Now, your point of intersection should be pretty narrow, right? It shouldn't be like, the whole book. Oh yes, all of my sources intersect on this book, right? Because that's too broad, right? Maybe a couple intersect on a particular character. Maybe a couple intersect on a particular theme that you want to flesh out. Maybe it's on the setting, right? So you want to just kind of point out things that are intersecting in a narrow fashion, okay? And again, this is just a brainstorm. This is just to get your mind thinking in terms of seeing the conversation, how it's playing out, that kind of thing. All right, so get started on that brainstorming. Pick out those points of intersection, kind of talk a little bit about how the authors are doing it. Remember, if you paraphrase or quote anything, you do need to cite it. So make sure that you've got those skills right at your fingertips. But this should not be an overly hard assignment. You shouldn't be spending hours on it. It's a brainstorm to get your ideas in order for the rest of the literature review. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, see you guys next time.